Hello and welcome once again to UOCTV, still the student-run show exclusively for the University of Cumbria. And as always, my name is Finn H Drude.
And I'm not, as always, Stephanie Kiewel.
Well, I know that, they don't,
yes.
Now they do, and
well,
at least I am once again back in the studio this week.
Well, we know how much you enjoy watching your favorite German presenting duo in action.
Yes, well, I don't know how much they're gonna enjoy watching you, but that's something we're gonna find out over the show. But don't worry, just calm down, it's alright. Studio isn't as bad as they say it is.
No, it's fine, it's really nice in here.
It is, but enough about us.
Yeah.
And let's have a look what's coming up on this week's show.
Good idea. Paul Kemp sits down to have a chat with University Chaplain Matthew Firth.
Graeme Finch gets some views on the upcoming student elections at UCSU.
We welcome back writer Gemma brewer to the show, who's here to talk about her new production, Bad Blood.
We send a team down to the Carlisle Aquathlon.
And then Tom Dorsett runs up with our What's On segment.
Now, on the last show, maybe you remember, we showed you some highlights of the recent gay marriage debate, and one of the panel members in that debate was the university's very own chaplain, Matthew Firth.
And that got us thinking, we don't really know that much about the chaplaincy team and what they do.
No, we really don't. So we sent the guy who usually sits here next to me, called Paul Kemp, down to interview Matt and find out a bit more about him and the chaplaincy team. Over to you, Paul.
So I'm joined by the University Chaplain, Matthew Firth. Thank you for taking the time to speak to us.
Pleasure.
How do you feel religion engages with the student body?
I think that they're not particularly interested in religion in terms of rituals or institutions, but I do think they're interested in spirituality, and I do think they're interested in God as well. If we engage through relationships and friendships with students, and if we engage through talking about spirituality and talking about God, then actually that's more fruitful. It's when you start to talk about commitment to institutions, commitment to a particular set of religious practices that there might be more of a problem, I suppose, because that's just a generational thing, and it's not quite going in the whole institutional religious direction, I don't think.
Yeah. Do you feel that of same-sex marriage and questions about, I guess, sexuality in general, it's a young person issue, I feel, a lot. Would you agree?
It's a big issue for people, especially in a university context, especially in this particular age group. But I do think that it's right that it was talked about, because it's a really important issue for the country, for people as individuals, for communities. So I think, although sometimes you think that we talk about it too much, actually it's so important that it's right that it's talked about, and just talked about openly. And talked about in a kind of adult and reasonable way, really. So,
what's next for the chaplaincy?
There's a sort of bread and butter of chaplaincy, which is on the one hand engaging with the university, sort of bringing some of the values of faith and love and care for people into some of the conversations about Freshers Week or Welcome Week or well-being and that sort of thing. So there's always engagement between chaplaincy and the university into how we can make the university work for people. So we have a service in the Fushill Street chapel on a Wednesday lunchtime, and that gathers a few students and staff, and I think it's good to worship God on campus and to pray for the university. The thing that I really want to do is simply to make friends with students and get to know them, and that working with YWAM, Youth with a Mission, has been a really good kind of channel for simply getting people involved in chaplaincy around the table with students and just talking and finding out about what affects their lives and how they're doing with the university and their questions about faith and God, and so that's been the key thing. So I don't expect kind of chapel services to grow to 1,000 people attending, but I do value those other opportunities where chaplaincy can work with other organisations in order to engage with students.
Matthew Firth, thank you very much for speak with us. We'll let you get back on with your chaplain duties.
Thank you. I'll try.
Next one.
And our thanks once again to Matt Firth for taking the time to talk to us.
Absolutely, because it's always really good to have people to talk to who have interesting things to say and something worth listening to.
Indeed it is, and with this year's student union elections coming up, there's a number of students preparing manifestos and election campaigns and really trying to gain your interest and, of course, your vote.
And yours.
And yours.
But are the students' union doing enough to publicise the elections, and are people actually really voting?
Well, we like to get your views on the matter, so this week we sent out our newest member of the UOCTV family, Graeme Finch, down to Fusel Street to get the views of some of you guys and, of course, of student union representatives.
Hi there, we're down at the Learning Gateway talking to some student union representatives and some students about their views on the student union elections. Are you interested in the student elections at all?
I'll probably throw a vote in. Not sure to who yet, but I'll probably throw it in, yeah.
Not particular because I don't really know what it is.
I don't know much about it at the minute, but I'd like to know more.
I don't really know anything about them.
Absolutely, it's a vital part of the student experience.
Very interested. This is a really good year for the student union elections, just because we've got so many candidates running.
So do you think the university's done enough to let people know about the student elections and the policies?
Probably, I mean, they've got like posters about it all over the place. Yeah, but I don't hear like anyone talking about it and stuff.
I've seen a couple of flyers because my flatmate's on the flyer, my next door neighbour's on the flyer, so I kind of noticed those dotted about.
With the resources that we have available, the internet, the student newsletters, the academic groups and the focus groups that we hold, I think we've done as much as we possibly could do to not only raise awareness of the elections, but also to communicate what each of our candidates' pledges are.
I've seen a few flyers, stuff on Facebook and stuff, but I haven't really seen anything from the university itself.
Do you think the whole voting process, do you think getting anyone in will actually affect anything?
It depends on the people you vote for, depends on how committed they are to the job.
Because it is so competitive this year, you know, people need to be coming through on the pledges that they're making, and people are really going to have to stand out as a candidate to get those votes.
It probably will, but I don't know in what way it will.
Like, I'm sure about myself, so nothing really gets done whenever I do it, so I don't know. I don't think anybody else could do the same thing.
It could, like, yeah, it's possible. I'm not entirely sure yet.
The student union representatives have been quite keen about the whole affair, but a lot of the students that we've spoken to seem to be quite apathetic. There is still a lot of time to get voting, and all the information that you need to find is online on social networking sites. This has been Graeme Finch, back to the studio.
And if you would like to have your say and vote in the elections, but perhaps you're not quite sure how, head on over to the Student Union website. The details are below.
And no doubt we'll be seeing more and more of the campaign efforts of the elections period.
But of course, campaigning for elections isn't the only thing students are up to at the moment.
As Stanwick Theatre is as busy as ever with a wide variety of productions soon to be performed.
Yes, and when we found out that one of our previous guests is currently promoting her newest production called Bad Blood, well, we just had to invite her back on the show, didn't we?
We had to, really. So we now welcome to the show writer Gemma brewer and actors Hart and Amber Hornby.
I'll give you a round of applause.
Yes, of course.
How are you all doing today?
Good, thank you.
So you're all involved in the Bad Blood production. Let me just start with you, Gemma, because you're obviously the writer. Can you tell us a bit about the show and maybe what is it about?
Okay, it's kind of a horror, isn't it? Yeah. It's set in the middle of nowhere on a secluded farmhouse where two sisters live and where one of them likes to kidnap people.
Okay, that sounds interesting. Now, if I remember correctly, last time you were here and you were talking about your show, it was quite grim and dark as well. So is that kind of a theme that you're going for? Is it something that you enjoy writing about?
The last show was slightly darker and this is a bit more...
Grim.
Wrong. This is more wrong.
Okay.
On a lot of levels. A lot of taboo subjects.
From where do you draw your inspiration from?
My relationship with my sister. I'm an older sister and we kind of, from a young age, always kind of argued. And as an older sibling, I find that sometimes bullied her. But my relationship with my sister is nothing like their relationship. It's kind of a lot of mental abuse and physical abuse, but kind of got inspired from my own personal life.
I'm just interested, how did you get involved in Gemma's idea in the show?
Well, she just kind of spoke to us a bit about the idea and just asked us if we'd be interested. And for me personally, I just thought it'd be a challenge to play something a bit different. Because at my time here, a lot of parts that I've played have been very comedy, and I just fancied something a bit different. It has been a massive challenge being in it. It's been quite mentally straining because the topic is so hard hitting and whatever it is.
Grim.
It's difficult to kind of switch off from it, if you will. So
Can you maybe give us a bit of an insight? How do you prepare for a role like that? How do you get into a character that is that grim or that?
a lot of research, a lot of research,
a lot of characterisation.
and we watched a lot of documentaries on people like Myra Hindley, which was grim, but it kind of, as much as this is very wrong, it kind of gives you a better understanding of their mindset. Because obviously you don't really go around every day killing people. A lot of the people we researched, it seemed to be a sexual thing.
Satanic kind of stuff.
Yeah. So that kind of gave us a lot of insight into the character itself. So it's been hard to understand, but in a way now I kind of see from their perspective.
Okay. When did you actually start preparing the show?
It's like end of January,
Yeah.
beginning of February.
No, so it's kind of a solid 2 months.
Or, no, we only do like a few hour. We only do like a few hour days for like a month.
Okay.
Because it's not good to like jump in straight away to block stuff. Blocking like a play is like the worst thing you can do.
Yeah.
It's research, and then sort of going through the script and uniting it, and like finding little things that we can contribute towards it. Just sort of like little exercises like that.
What do you do to switch off? Are you just going home and put a comedy on
we just
TV?
gossip and stuff.
Yeah,
don't we?
just
Like,
don't talk about it.
Because we're friends anyway, so we just like chat and stuff, don't we?
Yeah, because otherwise you can end up going a bit crazy.
When's the show actually on? When will people be able to see the final result?
Friday the 22nd and Saturday the 23rd of March at 6 o'clock on both days.
Amazing. Well, thank you very much, guys, for taking the time off and having a nice chat with both of us. It has been a pleasure of having you in the studio today.
Yeah. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, and good luck with your show.
Thank you.
Fingers crossed.
And if you want to see Bad Blood on either Friday the 22nd or Saturday the 23rd of March, tickets are still available.
Yeah, and you can contact the Stanix Theatre for more information and, of course, to book the tickets. The details are below.
Now, that's Bad Blood, but what do you think is a good way to get blood pumping?
I don't know, maybe coming up with a better link and not just reading it off the article.
Come on, play along. I'm going with somewhere else with that.
Okay, let's see, running or, I don't know, swimming?
Well, combine both, maybe?
What, running and swimming, can you do
Together,
that?
yes, you can.
Is that
you don't have
possible?
to be cheeses to do that.
Really?
Yes,
God.
definitely. Because we sent a crew down to this year's Carlisle Aquathlon to catch some of the athletes in action.
We had 14 different waves today, ranging from under 18-year-olds to over 50-year-old men. And it was just making sure everybody was in the right lane with the right coloured hat at the right time, and we got all the start times right so that the right people get the right prizes. Yeah, my husband and two of his friends run Sport in Action. They formed it earlier on last year, and they'll do 8 events this year, all either swimming, biking, running, or a combination of the three.
It wasn't too bad. The swim was good. I enjoyed the swim, but I think the running in the cold was really hard work. On the tops, the wind got quite nasty. There was a bit of snow flurries, so it was challenging. This is my 3rd year of racing, so it wasn't, I've raced in worse conditions, but not many. This was pretty cool today. Well, the course is good, and I enjoy the course. It's slightly different from last year's, but it's a good course. Nice, fast course.
We've had a really good smooth turnout, all the transition, everybody's been in and out quickly and obliged by all the triathlon rules, it's been really good. This is the second aquathon, it's part of Sport in Action, which was only recently formed last year. They do various other events within the Northwest.
This is just a warm-up for the rest of the season.
And if you want to get involved in any of Sport Action's upcoming events, then you can find them as usual using the details below.
But that's not all what's happening right now, right?
It is not, because there's loads and loads of stuff to do in Carlisle. Yes. So, do you know what time it is? It is time for our What's On roundup, highlighting just a few of those things.
Yes, and because he did such a great job last week,
he really did.
We've brought him back again. It's Tom, or called Tommy Boy, Dorsett.
Hey, take it away, Tommy.
Students have begun campaigning for the upcoming student elections. Voting begins on Saturday and you need to cast your vote by the 22nd of March, with the results coming in on the 26th. If you want to know more, go to youtube.com/UCSU Manifestos. A new bar, The Church, is set to open in the old residence of former nightclub Party Pie. It is being run by the current owner of Office Bar on Botchergate and opens on the 28th of March. The world's premier Beatles tribute band play at the Sand Centre this Sunday. The production uses footage from the period, tracing the Fab Four right from the Cavern Club to the Apple rooftop. Tickets are £26.50 plus a booking fee. On Thursday the 21st of March, Carlisle form band Birds vs Planes will play the Brickyard to launch their new EP, Narrow Angles. The band took part in MTV's Get Seen Get Heard competition in 2008 and in 2011 were invited to perform at BBC Radio 1's Big Weekend. And finally, weeks after going into liquidation, Club Rock has reopened. Although details are hard to come by at the moment, they reopened last week and seem to be rocking it even more than before. I've been Tom Dorsett and that was your What's On guide. Back to the studio.
And sadly, that brings us to the end of the show.
Very sadly, yes. But just before you go, we are always looking for new stories. So if you've got an idea for something you think we should cover, or if you're interested in anything, just please send us an email and tell us about it.
Yes, and as great as myself and of course Steffi as presenting to you, we're still looking for more presenters to join the UOCTV family. So if you fancy sitting here in the studio next week with one of us,
maybe there.
Yeah.
Or if you just fancy reporting from an event or interviewing someone or any other role, please get in contact with us. You can drop us an email or you can reach us on either Facebook or Twitter. The details are below.
Yes, and if you're not following either of us yet on Twitter, shame on you. And here's another shameless plug with our details also below. Yes. Mine are at Finn H Drude.
And mine is at Last Look Back. I think I'm going to buy the tickets now for Bad Blood.
For Bad Blood? Okay,
yes,
well, I'm going to Pool because I really want to learn how to swim and walk at the same time because I think it's really cool.
I want to see that.
Okay, you can.
But before
that, thank you for watching the show today. Hopefully we'll see you next time.
Yes, definitely.
Until then, goodbye.
Bye.